I'm Information Officer with Northwest Team 8. And also, so we are doing a public meeting here with our complex to the west, which is the Skyline Ridge. Here he is, Marcus
Hello,
Kaufman.
everyone. Marcus Kaufman.
And so he is ODF Team 1, PIO. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So again, thank you for coming. We got a few, we're going to give you a lot of information tonight. We have quite a few speakers here lined up. We're going to be providing you with a lot of information. So, and this is going to be your opportunity to personally ask our fire managers questions and get some answers here. And from the Skyline Ridge Complex, Oregon Department of Forestry, Team 1, Incident Commander Joe Hessel.
Good evening, everybody. As Pam said, I'm Joe Hessel. I'm the Incident Commander with ODF Team 1. And we're the folks camped out on the exit to Riddle, down next to I-5. I'm pretty sure I saw some of you. Kevin and I were trying to remember whether it was a week or 10 days ago, but it's good to see you again. Just to kind of refresh folks' memory, we're the team working on the yellow and white ground over here to the west. Kevin and his gang's working on a little further out to the east. So I think, and Pat, I'll get this wrong, lightning storm came through right around, it was, might have been the 1st of August, somewhere in that neighborhood, because I think we were ordered on the 2nd. We showed up the evening or the afternoon of the 2nd. And in a couple of weeks, we've covered a lot of ground. We had 19 fires in the complex, and I don't want to steal John's thunder too much here, but 16 of those fires are contained, and the other 3 have a line around them, and we're feeling pretty good about things. And so just a tremendous amount of safe and aggressive firefighting the last couple of weeks to get to where we are. It doesn't happen by accident. We've had 24-hour operation pretty much that whole time. We've had tremendous cooperation and partnerships with DFPA, the BLM, the Forest Service, the local ODF district. Forest Industry's been with us the whole way, and you know, I can mention several others. But it's really been a pleasure to meld in with the local community here and kind of, mix in with your team, if you will, to accomplish what we've gotten done so far. OSFM jumped in. They were instrumental in helping us down there along the Ferguson Road area as well. So I'm not going to take too much time. I'll let John get to the specifics, but, big picture for us, we've gone from chasing and catching to holding and mopping within the last 3 or 4 or 5 days. And just want to say thank you to you folks, the communities that we've been camped in again and again and again over the years, and more recently, lately, have been very gracious and very helpful to us while we've had our stay here, and very patient as well. We've certainly impacted some folks the last couple of weeks, and you guys have been great to deal with. So thank you, and also just a quick welcome to some new folks that are in the neighborhood. The new team that's here, look forward to meeting you guys and working with you folks here in the next few days to integrate you around here as well. So thanks, and I'll hand it off.
And now we're going to hear from the operations of the Skyline Ridge Complex, Operations Section Chief John Flanagan.
Hello everybody, John Flanagan, Operations Section Chief, ODF Team 1. Got mostly all good news for you for Skyline Ridge Complex. We got 19 fires, 18 of them haven't grown in 5 or 6 days, and we were able to do some work, and we now have all our fires trailed. Like Incident Commander Hessel said, 16 of them are in contained status. We have O'Shea fire, which is it's a couple hundred acres, still got some fire, but we have good perimeter on it. We're in the getting towards 200-foot range of having worked the area. Everything's hose laid. And then Ike Butte, it's about 120 acres, and it's also in real good shape, working on that 200-foot range of control. Our big chore has been the Pool Creek fire. It was quite a challenge. It's not a huge fire, but it packed quite a punch. We worked hard the whole time on it. When we first came in, it was already in some fuels and moving, and with the resources we had, there was no way we were going to catch it. So we focused on some of the stuff we we could catch, and some of the stuff we inherited that DFPA had already done some really good work on, held that, and as we could, we focused all our effort into pool. And we have a fairly good amount of black line, which is controlled line. We got in the 200-foot range of that mopped up. But what we really did was last night we were able to bring fire from here on down to the bottom, and from in Division Delta and in Division Alpha, and bring it down and try to fill in here. We'd have much preferred a strategy where we could have gone tighter, but we'd had to go down into a creek, up a draw, down into a creek, and back up a draw. We looked at it with industry. We looked at bringing in some specialized equipment, some tethered machines, which hang off of a cable and work on really steep ground. And after looking at it with them, it just became obvious the chance of success there was pretty minimal, and it would have been a dangerous place for people to work. So we went with the indirect strategy, opened up some ridge lines, and brought up Burn Group from Grayback Forestry, private industry group. Got a ton of help from local loggers in there. They do a lot of our heavy equipment work for us. A lot of our fallers are from there. State Fire Marshal's office came in, did some extra work along the homes down here, making sure people were, you know, comfortable and secure. And we were able to pull that burn off last night with no problems. There'll still be smoke in here for some time. Some of the fuels in here are real heavy. There's old growth in there. And some of those jackpots, they'll burn and produce quite a bit of smoke. But the lines are all looking real good, and everything is well staffed. It's got hose lay, it's got trail, and the fire's pretty tight to the you know, we got black to dirt, and that's what we're looking for. So we're in a good place. You know, hope to just keep working, getting deeper with our mop up, getting a better perimeter, and that's what we'll be doing for the next. Well, we'll be doing it for probably another week or so, and then somebody else will come in and finish it off and do some of the rehabilitation work and things like that. But that's kind of our status right now. Thanks.
So to represent both complexes, National Weather Service is a meteorologist, Kurt Van Spybrook.
Well, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I guess I better put the microphone closer. I'm Kurt Van Spybrook, the incident meteorologist for the Devil's Knob. I'm working in conjunction with Scott Wishart, who is the incident meteorologist for Skyline Ridge. So we've been doing a lot of coordination and collaboration on just the weather for these two complexes, but also all the IMETs that are working around in Oregon and Northern California. We're working together to make sure we get you the best forecast and make sure that nothing falls through the cracks if there's going to be a weather event on these fires. So you heard a little bit about the lightning storm that started it, and then we ended up having that heat wave this last week where we had 3 consecutive days with temperatures over 100 degrees. And the overnight lows were down in the 70s, and the relative humidities never got back. We really were worried about that period as being a potential for almost catastrophic fire growth. The good news is the smoke, you heard about the smoke layer, that laid in here, and you know, it was kind of risky to hang all of our planning on that smoke layer doing what it did, but thankfully it did what it did. It kept everything down. It kept conditions hot and dry, but they weren't explosively growing, so that was a really good thing in our favor. And then we dodged another bullet with another chance for lightning yesterday. Nothing got within 100 miles of the east line of the Devil's Knob. It was way out there, only a couple of strikes, and then nothing came in from Northern California. So we got through that, and now we're getting back to normal conditions. And as you'll hear from fire behavior, we're going from extreme to normal, but normal for now is still dangerous. So keep that in mind, even though we're talking about normal weather, normal temperatures, normal humidities. This is the time of year where normal is still very dangerous. So I can't say that enough. I do have a little bit of good news if you like cooler weather, if you're expecting some cooler weather. Our forecast weather matrix here is just sort of a planning guide. And it looks like we're going to have a trough pass through the northwest, kind of like last Sunday where we had that cloudy day and the temperatures were about 15 to 20 degrees below what they were the previous day. Well, Monday into Tuesday we're looking at highs in the 80s and a little bit of cloud cover, so we'll get just a little bit of a brief respite before we start warming back up to normal temperatures for the weekend. So it'll be workable conditions for the crews. They'll get a lot of work done, and there are no real big hazards on site, although we do monitor the weather every day to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks, and you're in good hands. We've got 2 replacements coming in, so you'll have fresh meteorologists here, and they'll be briefed up, and we have a trainee coming in too, so there's plenty of coverage, plenty of eyes watching for any kind of lightning or any potential like that. So as the teams transition out, you're in good hands, and I'll just stand around afterwards for any questions you have about weather. Thanks.
Thanks, Kurt. And again, representing both complexes, Northwest Team 8 Fire Behavior Analyst Jim Hampton.
Evening, folks. Jim Hampton here. Well, as has been said a few times, we're still definitely not out of the woods yet. This area, as a matter of fact, most of the region is in their second year of drought. Received approximately 50-60% of the precip last year. We're already coming into this water year in a drought, an extended drought, and we received about 70% of what we would normally get for the year this season. So that's up to this point. Right now, the U.S. Drought Monitor has us listed in an extreme drought right now. If you'd like to see what the map looks like, we have it posted on the board over behind us here. The other thing is, it's also been mentioned that we're returning to some more seasonable norms. We've had 3-4 heat waves that set records. I don't know, the Medford area had set a record for consecutive days over 100, and I know it was hot here. Everything is dry. We ended up, with our fuels bone dry before we came into this. If you look at this chart here, most of the criteria on this chart were all red for the last 4 days. So, it looks like we're coming into a more seasonable norms, but as has been mentioned a couple of times, we're coming in from a very elevated fire perspective to a seasonable norm, which is just reaching its peak normally right now. So, this is not over. We still have the potential for explosive growth. This is a very dynamic fire environment that we're in right now. All it would take is the smoke to clear a day and have that column punch up, ventilate that fire, and it could be off to the races again, and that's on both complexes. So, we're probably a good 5-6 weeks before the end of fire season at this point. The only thing that really this is going to do for us in the short term is let our fine fuels, which are the primary carrier of the fire, cure up a little bit, maybe suck up a little bit of moisture, and maybe take some of the flash off of that fire. By flash, I mean if a tree ignites, torches up, throws out some spots. Recently, we've had 9 out of 10 out of every spot, almost every one, has started a new ignition, which grew very rapidly. Maybe that percentage now is 6 out of 10. For tomorrow, that's the prediction. 6 out of every 10 embers that land in a receptive fuel bed will start a new fire, but maybe they don't grow as fast. So that's where we see a little bit of immediate relief. However, the large diameter fuels and the cured live fuels are still going to be available until we start getting season-ending events. Generally in this area, we're looking at the end of September before we have a 50% chance of a season-ending event. Most seasons end on or before September 25th. You start getting into the 90th percentile or 99th percentile, where 99% ends, you're looking at mid-October until the 3rd week of October before 99% of the fire seasons here end. So still a lot of fire season to go. On both complexes, we've seen active surface fire spread, easily transitioning into the canopy, lofting embers quarter to a mile, 9 out of 10 of those starting a new fire, and you're off to the races. We see a little bit of relief on that in the short term, but that's pretty much been our modus operandi for the last few weeks. If you have any questions, I'd love to talk to you. Please feel free to come up to me afterward. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. And next we're going to hear from Rick Graw, who's the Air Resource Advisor.
Good evening, everybody. I've heard a lot tonight about living with fire. I heard one gentleman say this is a nice place if it wasn't for the smoke. I want to talk to you tonight about living with smoke. And that's something I know you've been doing for a few weeks now here, as well as for many years as well. And there are things that you have to know about smoke in terms of it has both short-term and long-term effects over time. The short-term, you probably notice your eyes get teary, your nose starts running, or throat gets scratchy, maybe coughing, tightness of chest. Those are all short-term effects of the smoke, and after the smoke passes and sky's clear, maybe you get to rinse out your sinus passages. That helps a little bit. But when it's with you, drink lots of water. That helps keep your mucus system moist. It helps you your body defend against the larger particles in smoke. Smoke contains hundreds of chemicals in it, particles and gases, some of which are even carcinogenic. And over time, it can take a toll on a person. If you're a person who's got pulmonary or cardiac condition, or you're sensitive to that, that's going to take a toll on you. So you want to be prepared for that. But what do you do? How do you prepare for smoke? How do you live with smoke? Well, some of the things you could do is in anticipation. If you're one of those sensitive people, make sure you're up to your supplies and your medication. If you're fortunate enough to be able to be housed, you're able to get a home high efficiency particulate air filter. They're called HEPA filters. You can buy them at the hardware stores, Home Depot, online. They work really well for clearing the smoke out. If you don't have one in your house, it takes about 3 days for the inside of your house to be the same concentration of smoke on the outside. So having these things could really help. So what do you do when the other thing you can do to prepare for it is make sure you know where the information sources are, so you can understand what's coming your way in terms of smoke. And a great resource for finding out what that is, it's called fire.airnow.gov. fire.airnow.gov. And on that site you'll see all sorts of monitors around the country, and you could zoom in to your location and see what the conditions are. Unfortunately, there's not an air quality monitor here in Tiller or Milo or the surrounding communities. So what do you do? How do you know how bad it is? Well, what Oregon's established is a 5-3-1 rule. If you could see 5 miles or further, air quality is good. If you can see 5 miles but it's kind of hazy, it's starting to deteriorate a little bit. And those sensitive individuals might want to start taking notice, maybe minimizing your exposure. If you can't see 3 miles but you can still see 1 mile, it starts getting unhealthy for a lot of people. That's when you want to start thinking about, maybe I don't want to be outside, maybe I'll keep my kids inside, maybe even the pets inside. When it gets less than 1 mile, that's where it's really bad, and everybody ought to take precautions and try and stay inside as much as possible. But you know, there's good times of the days and bad times. It doesn't stay horrible all day on many days. Sometimes it's better in the evening or morning. And those are times you want to try and do your errands outside, walk the dog, take care of the horses, whatnot. So those are a few things you could do during fire season and ways to protect yourselves. And you know, if you want to know more about that, I'll be off to the side here. I do the smoke forecast. You can see it put up there. If you want, you know, in addition, in the fall, you know, we try to do a lot of fuel treatments around here to help, you know, prevent these long-term fires, because air quality is awfully long-lasting, a lot worse during when a wildfire comes than with a prescribed burn. So please try to. I know that's the time you got to live with smoke as well. We don't always like it, but our fuel treatments do a lot of good, and we appreciate your support in getting those accomplished. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. And from the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, Brad Odell.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for attending this evening. I'm not going to take a lot of your time, but I did want to address some questions or concerns about evacuations. What I can tell you is that the Sheriff's Office, as well as the Board of Commissioners, are in daily discussions with the fire crews as far as how the fire is affecting all of you, your properties, your homes. We want to make sure that, number one, your safety is our priority, okay? And so we are having daily discussions with these folks and really trying to assess and evaluate where we need to be with the evacuation levels. As you know, the evacuations levels are three different ones, right? A level 1, a level 2, and a level 3, or ready, set, go. I have some brochures this evening. If you have not received one of these, please come find me at some point after the meeting. I'm happy to hand these out. There's some really great information in here about how to prepare for any evacuation level. Also, I want to reiterate that the time to prepare and to come up with your evacuation plan is well before the emergency starts, okay? So if you're not currently in any sort of evacuation zone, it's always a great idea to begin preparing, have that plan, and so I would refer you to ready.gov. That's ready.gov, and there's a lot of really great information out there about creating an emergency plan, how to create your evacuation plan, what documents or things you might want to take with you. The other thing is the emergency alert system. We're really fortunate here in Douglas County to have a reverse 911, as we call it, or the Douglas County Citizen Emergency Notification System. What happens is when there's an evacuation level 2 or a level 3, we may activate that and it will call out to cell phone numbers, landline telephones. You can sign up to receive these by email. There's a number of ways to be notified, and so I would encourage you to log on to the Sheriff's Office website at dcso.com/alerts. Again, that's in this pamphlet this evening, and sign up for those alerts. Home or landlines are automatically enrolled, but it's always a good idea just to log in, make sure that you're connected and that you're receiving information. Lastly, the evacuation levels. There's a map right over here. Following the meeting, I'm going to be in this area. Please come find me if you have any questions. We can talk about this map. The other thing is the Sheriff's Office is really working closely with the GIS department, or the folks. Help me out with the name of the department, Commissioner.
Situation.
Natural Resources does that, but
Okay.
in the Public Works Department.
Public Works and Natural Resources. So they're really great about helping us keep the information updated on the Sheriff's Office website at dcso.com/evacuations. There you can go on, type in your address, and it will take you exactly to that address and show you what evacuation level you may or may not be in. That is updated as we get the information and push that out. So again, I'd refer you to that. That's dcso.com/evacuations. Again, I'll make myself available after the meeting. If you have any questions, please feel free to stop by. And I do have plenty of these. Stop by, grab one from me, and take care.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
And next, we're going to have the Medford District Bureau of Land Management District Manager, Elizabeth Berghard.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Elizabeth Berghard. I'm the District Manager for the Bureau of Land Management, Medford District. My counterpart from Roseburg was up here a few nights ago, Heather Whitman. So we are both agency administrators on the Skyline Ridge Complex, and for updates on, I know I'm going to let the fire folks talk about the updates on specifics, but we're really pleased with how things have gone the last several days in terms of burnout operations, and just really we have a lot of fire on the landscape where we have a lot of lines that are holding, and so we're really happy about that. And I just want to express my appreciation to all of the agencies and people that have engaged in this in all of these incidents following the lightning that we had in southern Oregon. Without that cooperation and really leadership at every level, I think we'd have a very different situation on the ground today. So I just want to express my appreciation here for the U.S. Forest Service, Douglas Forest Protection Association, Douglas County, Oregon Department of Forestry, Oregon State Fire Marshal, all of the agencies that have just come together to really attack all of these varied incidents to put us where we are today. And moving forward, we are focused on continuing the work that needs to be done to finish this effort out, and then we'll turn our efforts to recovery from this incident. Thanks.
And next, representing the Douglas County Commissioners, Commissioner Tim Freeman.
Well, thank you, and for the community members that are here, thanks for taking the time to come learn a little bit about what's going on. For all these fire professionals and agency folks that are here in our community helping, on behalf of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners and the citizens of Douglas County, thank you. I recognize there's a lot going on in Oregon, and many of you have situations going on in your own communities where you might have fires, other things happening, but you're here helping us, and we certainly appreciate it. I won't spend a bunch of time because we're going to get to hear from the professionals that are doing this, but I want the people to understand how complex these fires are. We literally have 3 fire teams right now in Douglas County. You were doing 2 of them down here right now, and just on this fire, when you get a chance, come look at these maps. When you see these checkerboards, you got ONC land managed by the BLM, and you got private industrial timber. You got Forest Service land that's checkerboarded, likely controverted ONC land and private timber land. You've got the State Fire Marshal's office been here augmenting the great work that our local fire districts do. And they've done tremendous work. They got here early, and they continue to be available to take care of whatever needs on the structural side that the local folks can't take care of. I'll tell you, we got some really great local fire departments doing good work too. The DFPA, what an amazing organization they are. Their initial attack, and they continue to be engaged, and you're going to hear from them in a little bit. We are getting more and more adapted to living with fire, and sadly, because of that, we're becoming much better at it as a firefighting community. When we first started doing these, when I first started showing up as a state representative maybe 12 years ago, there seemed to be a lot of situations where the different agencies and different groups didn't communicate. That's not the case now. Everybody is working together. They're communicating very, very well. There's no egos. Everybody comes to the table saying, what can we do today? They're sharing resources, they're coordinating plans, and they're doing the very best they can to try to put these fires out. And again, I want to say thank you. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. And next we have with the Douglas Forest Protective Association, District Manager Pat Scripp.
I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly give my gratitude from our board of directors, our landowners, for the work that both teams have been doing on the behalf of our association and the BLM and the Forest Service. Your service is, I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate the work you've done. And as Commissioner Freeman said, you've taken away from your families that time. And as I told the firefighters the other day, if I could ask one thing of the team members, is take a pause, a tactical pause, call home, check in, listen to your families. Some of these teams have been out, on the bootleg fire for weeks on end. They've been out going since June on other fires. That's a long time away from being away from home. So just again, my gratitude to the teams, the work, the coordination, and I want you to look around at all the different emblems and patches you see. It's quite amazing that we all come together for a common cause. Just an update on DFPA and where we're at locally. The glass is half full because I'm surrounded by great people. Glass is half empty because we're We're only into August, the middle of August, and we haven't even hit the peak of our fire season yet. We are still providing initial attack on the 1.6 million acres here in Douglas County. Today we were successful in taking a couple fires out of play. We've been in a industrial fire level precaution 4. Starting Monday, we're going to go back to a 3. We understand that those closed in the woods and that industrial activity affects people's ability to pay their mortgage. We're just asking all citizens of Douglas County to be real careful and cautious, be thinking, one less spark. Think about what could happen 5 seconds from now, the activity you're doing 5 minutes from now, 5 days from now, 5 months from now, 5 years from now. And just take that pause and be careful out there. Again, I'd like to thank also the citizens here for taking your evening to become informed. That's the most powerful thing you could do, is get good intel and information. Thank you.
So now we're to the point that we're going to be able to open it up for questions. For the folks that are going to be watching this tomorrow when we post these recordings onto the respective complexes, you can ask your questions through the Facebook page there, and we will do our best to get those answered. So now how we're going to do this is that you can raise your hand, and we'll have Keith come over and hold the microphone, and you can ask your question, and we'll then have the appropriate person come on up to answer. Perfect. Yep, I will need a wipe. So with that, who wants to be who has a question? I know these were great presentations, but I was hoping for some questions here. So, and even if there is no questions, we're going to be up here by the maps that you're going to be able to step on up, and we'll be here to answer questions. We have one here.
Do you have an update or any information on the people that got hurt in the wreck last night, I think it was, and there was a van that had a wreck also? Do you have any information on their how they're doing?
I can speak to the accident that involved the van the other day, a couple days ago. We had a 20-person crew who was working night shift on the pool fire, and they were en route back to our incident command post along the freeway. And the van ended up on its side there around milepost 13. 4 firefighters were transported to the hospital in Roseburg, and 4 firefighters were released later on that afternoon. We were very fortunate that the injuries weren't worse. We had a broken finger, a cut hand, a concussion, and a broken nose, I think. And so a very close call, but a relatively good outcome there. And we work really hard to mitigate fatigue, give people good rest. We emphasize driving and everything we do. That's really probably our biggest hazard out there. And so we work hard for that not to happen, but it does happen on occasion, and we're happy those folks are all okay.
Good deal.
Questions? If not, I can still Oh, we're here.
Let's see. Will there still be around the different divisions where the fire in the Skyline, in the Pool Creek fire, will there still be 24-hour crews, or is it gonna be less people out there than have been?
We'll start downsizing the number of people, but we'll have folks out there 24 hours a day. The state fire marshals have had to go on to some more pressing areas. We feel really good about where things are at along Ferguson Road there, and we'll have crews out there for as long as we're here, day and night, keeping an eye on things and working on the fire.
In the back here in the red hat. And while he's walking back there, in your packet you're going to see 2 different updates, one for each fire here, and it has the Facebook pages and telephone numbers to contact people for information. So take a look at your packet here.
Yes, you mentioned that the Cow Creek tribe was putting in some fire lines and on their property. I was wondering where exactly that is.
So, is this working?
Yes.
So it's over here. You can see where this orange color is that's the Cow Creek. It's trust lands of the Cow Creek tribe. And so there's a road system that comes down through here. It kind of bounces back and forth between the trust land and onto the forest and back. And it comes all the way down. I think it's called Dead Man's Creek.
So also in the back, they can there's some little business cards, and on the back is some QR codes. And this actually, if you the one here, although we don't have DFPA or Forest Service on here, it does have the Douglas County Sheriff's Office interactive map for evacuations. So you can scan this. This is also to the Facebook and InstaWeb page, and we have some of these back on the table back here. So please make sure to pick one up. And there's also copies of the forest order. It's rather lengthy, as you can see on the right-hand side. But if you're interested to get a copy of that, we've got some copies back there with that. So, oh, okay, we'll get you next.
So this isn't a question exactly. It's just a kudos to ODF for all of their visits and settling down people and information. We really appreciated it on Ferguson Lane, certainly. I can only speak for that, but we got daily visits for several days in a row, and it was extremely important. And they worked very closely with us on making sure all of the people on the road were visited and got info. So thanks again, everyone, for that. Greatly appreciated. Give them a hand.
So this is just about last night. I was coming upriver, and there was a large group of people camping at 3C, and they had a campfire going. And I came in and called 911, and there was sparks coming off it and everything, and you could smell the wood. But when I called 911, somebody called me back and said that it was approved by the Forest Service, that it was a propane fire pit. And I'm just wondering, I still see a trailer up there at 3C. The large group is gone, but is everybody going to be removed from the campground since it's residents only?
Good question.
Yep.
What happened with that fire last night?
I can get you some more specific info. I don't have it right now. But we are clearing the corridor out. It started today. We've got a person specifically assigned to that task that's going to be consistently making rounds up and down the corridor, up to the fire's edge or as close as it's safe to get, making sure that it is just resident emergency response and landowner traffic up there. I'm sure most of you that have traveled up that way have encountered the security checkpoint, and we're trying to make sure folks have that bright pink placard with them when they go up with their address on it, making sure that we've got... Can you hear me there?
Yep.
Okay. Making sure that we're only getting residents up there. So it's known. You're not the first to call. Getting that established as soon as we had that firm closure. Yeah, we're on it, but thank you. And if you see anything else, please do call.
Thanks, Steve. Any other questions? Buzzer beater? All right, so then we'll just go ahead and say thank you for coming, and please come on up and take a look at the maps. We have a fire history map. Take a look at both of the complexes a lot closer, and then just even the land ownership here. And again, thank you so much for your patience, and we just appreciate you folks very much. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.